We are in conversation with the management of Astral. Mr. Hiranand Savlani joins in to talk about the quarter, because I would call this as a quarter of recalibration, but with a strong quarter-on-quarter recovery. Simply because if you see last 2 or 3 quarters, PVC prices were largely unstable. This quarter, there is a bit of stability, more importantly, margins at the same level YOY, which to my mind is a positive. Mr. Savlani, how would you term this quarter? Because you've lived through now 2 or 3 quarters of fair degree of volatility.
Yeah, you are right. The industry was passing through a very tough challenges. You see on a yearly basis, the polymer price will drop by close to about 18%. So when there is a drop in the polymer price, our industry is the pass-through industry. The very same day we pass on this drop to the market. But if you see the number, in spite of so much of challenges, we are not able to maintain our volume growth, but also we are able to maintain our EBITDA margin. In this difficult time also, we have grown our GP also by 1%. So clearly you can see when the industry was degrowing by 5-6%, our company was able to grow 3-4%. So clearly we have gained the market share in this difficult time. Secondly, whenever the polymer prices are dropping, there is always the inventory losses. That in spite of absorbing that inventory losses, we were able to not only maintain our EBITDA margin, but improve our EBITDA margin on a year-on-year basis. So that was also the another good thing about the company. So all these things suggest that now the worst is behind us. Whatever the bottoming out was to take place in the polymer price is almost going to be done in this quarter. And from here on, some stability will be there and some improvement into the polymer prices will also be there. So most of the loss was because of the destocking by the dealer and distributor community. Normally, dealers and distributors both put together sit with between 6 to 8 week inventory. Now they have come down to almost 2 to 3 weeks inventory. So that has given us the big dent, not only to us, but the entire industry. But it is one good thing about Astral is that we were able to maintain our margin, while other players in the industry, most of the players have lost almost 25 to 40% kind of EBITDA last year, while we were able to maintain our EBITDA.
And I'm going to ask this to you as to how, but before that, Mr. Savlani, yes, pipes volume growth. I mean, when I look at your revenue miss about versus what, let's say, brokerages were thinking of, they are saying that the same can be attributed to subdued pipes volume growth, which was about 1.3% versus estimates of about 3%. So did volumes degrow much more than what was anticipated?
See, street may be expecting always the higher things from the Astral, but we have to also equally see the market conditions also. When the market conditions are not conducive to the industry, in that case, unnecessary dropping the price and pushing the volume doesn't make sense. The most of the other players you see, they have just dumped the inventory and they lost the margin. While Astral believe that dropping the price is very easy, but again, regaining the price in the industry is going to be a big challenge. So that's why we took a call that we don't want to unnecessarily dump the inventory at a lower price in the market. So we sacrifice maybe 1 or 2, but in spite of that, we have gained the market share. We have not lost the market. So that's a positive thing about the Astral.
Okay, so 2 questions, Mr. Savlani. One is on the market share. I mean, is there a formalized market share gain that you talk about, and can you talk about that, part 1? Part 2, this whole piece around inventory losses that would have been there, obviously, could you give some clarity around what is the nature of these inventory losses? Do they continue into quarter 1 as well as you reported in the month of July?
So like till the polymer prices will continue to be a dropping side, then definitely inventory losses will be there. But the best part on Astral side is that we compensated that losses with the change in the proportion toward this value-added products. So we focused during last year maximum on the value-added products. So that has given us the good support, and because of that, we were able to absorb not only the losses, but we were able to maintain our margin. So that was the positive side for Astral. And going forward, I think Q1, again, the polymer price had dropped. Only yesterday, some uptick has taken place, 2.5% price rise was there from Reliance. So now upward journey has just started. We have to see whether it is going to be a sustainable kind of thing or whether it will take some more time to sustain. But yes, definitely 6.5 rupee drop was there in Q1. Again, that 1.5 rupees rise is there. So still losses are there in Q1. But we are of the view that Q1 will be the last quarter. Afterward, at least downward trend will not be there. May take some time for the upward trend. but at least this quarter we will be seeing the bottoming out.
You got it. You got some approvals to which I will talk about at the end, but just one quick follow-up, Mr. Savlani. You've seen multiple cycles, right? One is, of course, pricing, which is not in your control. What about volumes? When do you see the change in volumes happening? Could it happen in the first half of the current calendar? Because last year, the first half, the economy went through a substantial pullback because of elections, monsoons, etc. Can there be a base effect positive as well on volume growth in the first half of FY26?
So if you see the last year Q1, we were almost up by 15-16% in volume. So base was very high in the last year.
Okay.
Q2 onward, the problem started. And then the volume started dropping very sharply post the election. I think election result was somewhere in June. So from June onward, the dropping started. And there the polymer price also dropped in the month of June onward. So that has given the sizable dent to the volume. And the biggest drop in the volume mainly was because of the destocking from the dealer and distributor. Now, dealer and distributor will do only restocking when they see that the prices are going to go upward journey. So two or three price rise continuously will take place. Then dealer and distributor have no choice but to rush to do the restocking. And that can only be possible if the continuous price rise happen in the polymer. So two things are going on in the industry right now. One is the BIS standard. When this BIS standard will be implemented, there are high probability that a lot of unorganized player will suffer, and that volume will shift to the organized player. Secondly, the many PVC player from China, which is dumping the material in India, that will also stop sizably because they will not be qualifying for the BIS, so they will not be able to export the products to India. So that will lead to the polymer price rise. So that is going to help to the industry. Secondly, government industry players of PVC, they already initiated the anti-dumping duty. So that can also come in the near future. It is very difficult to quantify the timeline, but definitely this year we are expecting that is also going to be there. If that will also happen, then the low cost polymer which is dumped in India by China, that will stop. And that also going to give the rise to the polymer price. So if any of the things will happen in the coming time, then the dealer and distributor will rush to the restocking, and that itself is going to give the good volume to the industry. And that is what we are expecting in the current year. And the natural volume growth of the 7-8% of the industry will be there. So then double-digit growth will not be a big challenge if any of the things will happen.